Shut up and sit down.
Oh, hello, welcome. I just want to put a little bit of context into the video you're about to watch. On Sunday, Wales changed their speed limits. You've probably all heard about it. It's all over the news. The Welsh people are going crazy. They really don't like it. Well, Sunday morning, being as it was the first day of our new 20-mile-an-hour speed limits, I went out for two purposes. One was to go and find which roads had they put the 20-mile-an-hour restrictions on, and two, to get some petrol. So I went down to Colwyn Bay, because at the moment the cheapest petrol is a Texaco petrol station in Colwyn Bay. Leave my house, drive through the village. I was assuming my village had gone to 20, but I didn't see any signs, so I went through the village as I would do normally. I never speed in the village. I always drive slowly, and I always drive sub 20 miles an hour. Too many parked cars, too many people about, so you use common sense and you drive carefully in the village. Got onto the A547 to go to Old Colwyn, and that's a 40 zone, and it has been for a number of years. And then when you get to a junction called Highlands Road, I noticed the 30-mile-an-hour speed limit that has always been posted from that point. The speed sign that said 30 was still there, but they dropped it all the way to floor level on the post, but it still said 30. So I went down through Old Colwyn at the posted speed limit, where I should have been using my assumed 20 miles an hour speed limit because of the street lights that are on the road that are no more than 200 yards apart, because that's one of the rules. Got onto the A55, which on that section runs at 50 miles an hour. Came up the slip road in Colwyn Bay. At the top of the slip road I saw my first 20-mile-an-hour sign, which told me straight away Colwyn Bay is now a 20-mile-an-hour zone. Went and got fuel, zeroed the trip, and went home through the 20-mile-an-hour zone. It's now Wednesday, and I've done since Sunday 152.5 miles, and the car is running at 56.9 miles to the gallon. My car has never ever run that low, ever. It's always been mid-60s. When you watch the video, you'll see, because I live on top of a mountain, I have to climb a hill. And the hill I climb was always a 30 zone. And hybrids are clever cars. If you can get enough momentum going up a hill, you can bring the hybrid system in, where the petrol engine and the hybrid system will help you up the hill. So you won't use as much fuel, even though the engine's running, because you're getting help off the battery. I can't do that anymore because I can't get enough momentum going at 20 miles an hour for the car to drop onto the hybrid system. So I'm now going up the hill on pure petrol power only, and my hybrid and electric drive doesn't kick in till I get to the top of the hill, and it's all shown in the video. So watch the video, and I think this is the only reason why I'm burning more fuel. And the arguments that the Welsh government are putting across saying that driving at 20 miles an hour will create less emissions, you'll use less fuel, your car will be cheaper to use, are all false. I'm going to be using more fuel, more wear and tear on the car, and more emissions. It's that simple. If the petrol engine's running, I'm creating emissions. If I can drop it onto hybrid, less emissions. Even though the petrol engine's running, it's using very little fuel. And I'm not wearing the car out as quick because I've got the help from the hybrid system. Watch the video, please. It's educational. Thank you. Hello, welcome to an Northwell side-by-side video. What I've got on the dashboard here now is my tank average since Sunday, when the 20 mile an hour speed limit came in Wales, and I'm running at 57.1 miles to the gallon. This car has never ever run that low, ever. And I've been trying to figure out, why am I running at such a low fuel consumption? I'm actually going to use more petrol. And I think I've figured it out. Let me arm the cruise control. Just arm it. There we go. Radar cruise is ready. And I'm going to a hill, and I'm going to show you what it does on the hill. I want you to watch the power meter, because I'm going to put the power meter on. And I'll show you how the car now goes up the hill. And I'll explain to you, whilst I'm going up the hill, how I used to drive up the hill and what the car used to do. So, camera's going off now until I get to the hill. I'm going to climb to go up the mountain to where I live. Right, I've got radar cruise activated now, and I'm in a 40 zone. The cruise is set at 40, I'm doing 40, and I'm about to enter one of the new 20 zones. So, I'm then going to turn up onto the road that goes up the mountain. So we're coming into 20 now. So I set the cruise to 20. I'm going to indicate to go up the hill. I'm going to have to brake. Reactivate the cruise at 20. If you watch the power meter, it's only using the petrol engine, and it'll do that all the way up the hill. What I used to be able to do when it was 30 was accelerate very, very hard to 30 miles an hour, and then I could use the hybrid system to get me up the hill, where you'd have a combination of petrol engine and hybrid bringing you up the hill. So you'd also be using battery power to come up here. But as you can see now, I'm only using petrol. I'm not using any hybrid system at all. And I think that's why I'm actually using more fuel. Not once has the hybrid system kicked in. I'm on pure petrol all the way up this hill. It never used to do that. It would always come up there on a combination of electric motors and petrol. Because of this, I think that's why I'm using more petrol. I'm back on the flat now. I've climbed all the way up to the top of the mountain, and the car's reverted straight back to hybrid, straight onto electric power, which is what it would do at 30 miles an hour. Kill the petrol engine, go straight onto hybrid. But I've had no hybrid assistance coming up that hill. These new 20 mile an hour rules are actually going to cost me more money in petrol. That wasn't the idea of buying a hybrid car. I bought a hybrid to save money on fuel. I feel sorry for those people that have just got pure petrol or pure diesel cars, because they're coming up that hill at high revs in first gear or slogging an engine in second gear. They're also going to be using a lot more fuel than they would have done to come up there at an efficient speed at 30 in second or third gear at lower RPM. It is absolutely ludicrous that scientists that have been used in all these consultations and the advisors to the Welsh Government haven't thought about any of these issues. Not once have they thought about it, because this entire 20 mile an hour setup is all about catching the motorist out and fining them. £100 fine if you get caught, 3 points. You're only allowed 12 points on your licence. 4 indiscretions, you're off the road, I'm afraid. It's that simple. There's no ifs, buts and ands about it. They'll take your licence off you, and you will not be able to drive anywhere, and that's where they're heading, driving us off the road. Thanks for watching. Please click like if you've enjoyed the video. Please consider subscribing to the channel, because this 20 mile an hour speed limit lark is not over, and we are going to continue fighting. The link to the petition that's running at the moment, that's now got over 300,000 signatures, will be in the description. Thank you. Example of what I do on a hill normally. I accelerate hard, and as you can see there, I've generated enough momentum to be able to drop back onto the hybrid system for the car to go up the hill on the hybrid system. I'm now incapable of doing that on them big long hills where I used to be able to do it. Can't do it anymore. That's why I think I'm using more petrol.